All right, Assalamualaikum and a very good evening. I bid to everyone. Thank you for spending your time with us tonight. This is going to be a very wonderful and informative session, and I hope that everyone will be able to get something useful, something that you can use later for your assignment. Okay, but before we start our session tonight, let us all recite the Kitab Al-Fatihah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, so before we start, I would like to remind everyone, dear students and our audience, to do not forget to like, subscribe, and share our APBFB and as well as our YouTube channel. Yeah, all right. So first and foremost, allow me to welcome everyone to this collaborative learning session. And tonight's topic is especially for students who are doing ELC590, which we all know it to be as the oral presentation skills. So tonight I am your moderator. My name is Nurbaya Muhammad Aris and I am from Akademi Pengajian Bahasa Shah Alam. All right. So before I introduce our speaker, I would like to give an overview of the course ELC590. Now, this course is offered to mostly the first year degree students in UiTM and it carries 2 credit hours. There are several assessments in ELC 590, 3 in total actually. And the first one is informative speech. The second would be the idea pitching. And the last one would be the persuasive speech. Now, we all know that we have come to the 10th week of this semester. And by now, students are about to prepare for the final assessment, which is a persuasive speech. All right, so I hope that tonight's session will be most useful for you, when you are preparing for your final assessment, which is the persuasive speech. All right, so it is an honor, therefore it's an honor for us, to have our speaker tonight. And he will be sharing with us some tips on what it takes to make a successful persuasive speech. I'm sure that a lot of you have this question, in your mind, and you would like to have some insights on how you could or what you need to do when you prepare for your persuasive speech. So our speaker tonight, Dr. Abdelmajid Benraghda, who is the head of the Center of Intensive Language Teaching, University of Illizi, Algeria. He has an enormous experience in the teaching world. He's currently an assistant professor in English language of University of Illizi, Algeria. And interestingly, from 2015 until 2019, he was in Malaysia. He was teaching English and professional communication for undergraduates in Universiti Malaysia Pahang. Now, during that period, he was also the assistant lecturer and research assistant in English Language Department Center for Modern Languages and Human Sciences, Universiti Malaysia Pahang. Now, it's also interesting to note that he received his master's degree in English language and professional communication, as well as his PhD in applied linguistics from Universiti Malaysia Pahang. And what caught my attention is the title of his PhD thesis, which is Self-Assessment Strategy through Video Recorded Rehearsals in Delivering Technical Oral Presentation among engineering undergraduates. Perhaps we could later, have a session on that. Yeah, Dr. Abdelmajid?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Okay. All right. So I'm sure everyone is excited to know more about what they need to do in when they prepare for their persuasive speech. So let's not waste time. Yeah. So without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to Dr. Abdelmajid. Dr. Abdelmajid, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. First of all, Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everyone. So I am Dr. Abdelmajid Benraghda, an assistant professor of English language in University of Illizi, Algeria. So the first thing that I would like to share with you, so I am from University of Illizi, Algeria. So probably most of the audience don't know or exactly where is Algeria? Where is Algeria located? So first of all, let's start. Algeria is located in the north of Africa. Okay, so the full name is People's Republic of Algeria. It's an Islamic country. Okay, it's one of the Arab country. It belongs to the Arab world. So this is in brief to give you a general, how we say, a general information about my background, about my country. As you can see here, if it's, does it appear here in the screen?
Yes, I think you can see it. Yep.
So here, you can see here Algeria is in the north of Africa. It's open to the Mediterranean Sea, close to Italy, France, and Spain. So here is Algeria. So to be, how we say, clear and obvious to the audience, particularly our first year students, they don't know Algeria, maybe where it's located. So here is Algeria. Okay. So the title of today's session is what makes a persuasive speech and or presentation successful. Most of the
Yep.
students are, how to say, looking for key sources, okay, or key factors that help them, that support them to have a persuasive speech or a persuasive or presentation performance. They want to have a successful presentation or successful persuasive speech.
All
So
right.
in this,
Dr. Abdelmajid, just sorry to stop you there.
yeah,
Diana asked you to move the slides.
yes, please. Okay.
Is it moving?
Yeah, yes, yeah. Okay,
All
good.
right. Okay, thank you.
Nice, most welcome. So, starting from the title, so most of the students are looking for different, as I mentioned, ways to have to enhance their persuasive speech and persuasive, or to deliver persuasive oral presentation. Okay, in different subjects, whatever they go for, in any discipline, in any subject, they need to have a speech. They need to talk. They need to deliver their ideas, whatever they have in their minds. Projects, researchers, whatever, group work. So you need to deliver your speech, your presentation, your performance, your task. Maybe you have been assigned to a task, so you need to deliver a speech, whatever, in the classroom, in a conference, in any academic sphere. Okay, move on. So here, as you can see, so here, delivering a speech. Delivering a speech or an oral presentation is considered as a major difficulty for students due to many reasons. As I mentioned earlier, due to anxiety, for example, fear, they are poor in English, they have a low background, they don't have experience in delivering a speech. So these some of the factors that may face students during delivering a speech. So before we start, persuasive speech. So I need to talk about speech and oral presentation. Okay, what is speech and what is oral presentation? This is the first part. So we will focus here on speech. Okay, then the second part will be about oral presentation, and we will go in depth step by step. Okay, so
Right.
no matter how many times you have done your speech, so presenting, in fact, in front of peers, teachers, lecturers, researchers, clients, colleagues, or strangers is challenging task, nerve-wracking, okay, and stressful. So whenever you come to the stage, you will get nervous. I don't know what I'm going to talk, particularly if you don't have that confidence. So you will maybe lose your ideas that you have already planned to deliver to your audience. Good. So, especially if you have been tasked with delivering a persuasive presentation, particularly. As some who has delivered a number of conference talks, like as I mentioned, calls, okay, and webinars over the past few years, I know how impossible. We know the feeling. How do you feel about delivering a speech or presentation? I know how impossible it can feel to put together presentation that clearly conveys your ideas, your information, your data you want to share, okay, while also being persuasive and engaging. So to compile two things together, to present and to keep your plans, your ideas organized, it's quite challenging. Okay, particularly for students. So we know students they are still freshmen or fresh students. They're still at the beginning or at the early stage of learning. Good. So we move to persuasive speaking. Persuasive speaking. Okay. So persuasive speaking, what is it? Simply, let's simplify the term. So persuasive speech is a type of a speech. Okay. So we have different types of a speech. One of them is persuasive speech, in which speaker, okay, has a goal of convincing audience. So we
Yeah.
said persuasive. It comes from persuasion. So I need to persuade. Like, for example, you are with a group of people, you want to convince them. You have an idea, they have another idea which is against your idea, which is not the same. So you need to convince them to go through your way, right? So convincing the audience to accept his or her point of view. Imagine you are talking, okay, speaking to a number of students, okay, or lecturers or whatever you are talking to. It depends which audience you are talking to or speaking to. So you need to convince them. You need to persuade them, okay, to accept your point of view, to accept your idea, to accept your information. You need to tell them, particularly if your idea it's somehow controversial. Somehow, if they have an idea, you have another idea, you're going to convince them, right? Okay. So the speech is arranged in such a way to helpfully cause the audience to accept all or part of the expressed view. Okay? Though the overarching goal of a persuasive speech is to convince the audience, as I mentioned, to accept a perspective you have. Okay, definitely not all the audience may go on your way, can be convinced by a single speech, and not all perspectives can persuade the audience. The success of persuasive speech is often measured by audience's willingness. So how do we measure, we may ask this question, how do we measure persuasive speaking? So we don't have an exact way of measuring persuasive speech, only by whom? By the audience. So based on the audience willingness, we can decide so that my persuasive speech is successful. I have performed this target, for example, to convince them. Okay, this is what you call persuasive speech. I want to convince you. This is my project, for example, and I want my project to be accepted. So you will go, okay, for example, you have an interview where you have I'm now in front of a panel members, okay, maybe teachers, experts in a university or in a different, in an industrial field, okay, so industry in a company, you need to convince the industry about your project. How? You need to have the persuasive techniques, persuasive speaking skills, right? How will you convince them? All right? This is what we are going to see. Good. The success of persuasive speech is often measured by the audience willingness to consider the speech or the speaker's arguments. So here we have the audience's willingness to consider the speaker's arguments. So are they willing to be accepted? Are they willing to consider your speech? So you need to convince them. How? We'll see that. So the next step we have the paradigm, the traditionally persuasion involves. So we have three aspects. Okay, three modes. Okay, so we have ethos, logos, and pathos. So we'll explain them by details. So here, ethos, ethos refers actually to credibility of the speaker. Okay, is the speaker credible? As a listener, let's say supposedly I'm listening to you. So I need to have the aspect or the mode of ethos, which is credibility. Is he or she credible? Okay. Second, logos, which is logic. So ethos is concerned with the speaker. So we have three modes again. We have ethos, logos, and pathos. Ethos refers to credibility. Credible. This person is credible or not. Second, logos. It comes from the word logic. Okay, so logic refers to your ideas. Is it logic? Does it make sense? We can say that. Sometimes I'm talking to somebody. Does it make sense? Does his idea make sense for me? So this is what you call logos, logic. Okay. Oh, it doesn't make sense. It's senseless. So which means it's not logic. So I'm not gonna be convinced in that way. Okay. So this is what you call logos. The third part, which is the third mode, we have pathos, emotion. This part or this mode is concerned or it is related to the audience. So definitely they have emotions. There's what you call willingness. Are they willing to accept or to consider my ideas? Okay. By performing these three elements competently, a speaker therefore can enhance or can what we call enhance their persuasive power. So if you have these three modes, so you have the power of managing your persuasive speaking. Okay. Now we move to the next step, which is modes of persuasion. So we have ethos, logos, and pathos. Again, ethos, logos, and pathos. While ethos is essential part of persuasive speech, pathos and logos are usually combined to form a best possible argument. So we can say that here we have the main factor, which is ethos, which is credibility. Okay, this is the main part. The number one is ethos, which is credibility. This is the essential part of the persuasive speech. If I want to build up a successful persuasive speech, I need to have ethos. Am I credible enough? Okay, in my audience minds, because I cannot say, hey, I'm credible. I cannot know that. I cannot measure that. But based on my audience part, so I know that, oh, I am credible. So I am credible based on my audience consequences or audience's views. They will say he is credible. Okay, if for example, I will give you here example, and open brackets to students to better understand me. To understand me in a better way. To say, for example, you are going to a market to buy, let's say, a laptop. And then I ask my friend, for example, hey, what do you think about that shop? Oh, that shop is good. That shop is credible, which means go without fear. This is what you call credible. So you will go with the closed eyes. This is what you call credibility. Okay. So this is the essential part of persuasive speech. Pathos, okay, again, pathos and logos, which comes from logic, and emotion are usually combined to form the best possible argument. While a speaker can attempt to establish ethos, which is credibility, again, okay, with an audience, it is assigned to them based on the audience's perception. Again, how did I know that I am credible based on the audience's perception? If the audience does not perceive the speaker as a credible source, you see here, if the audience does not perceive the speaker as a credible source on the topic about which they are speaking, so they will ultimately have a hard time considering the speaker's argument. So they will no longer believe in you. They will no longer believe on your ideas. They will no longer believe on what you are talking about. They will no longer following your persuasive speech, persuasive ideas. You want to persuade them. But here, if there is no pathos, if there is no credibility, so the speaking, they will no longer will follow you. Okay. So how to succeed? Okay, how to succeed? So we have, here before we go to how to succeed. So here we have the logos is in speech, or logic appeals. Okay, are arguments. So whenever we talk about logos, we talk about arguments. That is directly related to your mind, to your logic. Logic appeals are arguments that present a set of information and show why conclusion must rationally be true. For example, arguments here in a court. Here we have an example of a court. Are logic arguments or not? For example, I have two victims. Let's say I'm a judge. Let's say we are in a court context. I have two victims. All of them, they will say, oh, I am impressed. I am depressed. Okay, I am a victim. I am a victim. Whom I will believe to whom I will believe. So again, so I will go to those who have strong arguments that make sense for me. Okay? So again, so for example, a judge will listen to both of them, but this one is really a victim, this one is not, is a fake victim. Based on what he has decided, this one, it's based on the arguments is being presented to him. Okay? Pathos emotional appeals are appeals that seek to make an audience feel a certain way so that they will accept conclusion. So emotion again. This is concerned the pathos section. Good. Next, we have how to succeed. How to succeed. The effectiveness of persuasive speech depends on factors beyond words of speech. What does it mean here? The effectiveness of persuasive speech depends on factors beyond the words of speech. Here we're talking about body language. Okay, so beyond words. Okay, so willingness of the audience to accept a new view, okay, the body language of the speaker and the environment in which the speech is given all can affect the success of persuasive speech. Here we have all the factors. We have body language, which is number one for the speaker. Imagine you are speaking, persuading people without body language. This does not happen, and this cannot be happen. This cannot be successful. Okay, so we need to have a body language. We'll talk about this one in the details, particularly when we talk about our presentation. Okay, body language of the speaker and the environment in which the speech is given. So again, so you need to pick up, you need to decide you have to pick up a suitable environment that is really convenient to your speech. Imagine you are speaking to, let's say, farmers about politics. You see, the environment is wrong. So you need to have a suitable environment that is really related to your persuasive speech. Here, the environment factor is really important, in which the speech is given. Okay, so the environment and the speech must be relevant so that you can have successful persuasive speech. Another main element, which is successful speaker will do their best to establish strong ethos, strong credibility with the audience, and combine pathos and logos to form the best possible argument. Okay, so if you don't have these three elements, you're no longer to have or to accomplish your goals. Okay, which means the audience will follow your ideas or follow your point of view. Okay, audience analysis, another main element too, audience analysis. Again, how we measure persuasive speech is by audience analysis or audience perceptions. Is an important factor when giving a persuasive speech. Again, so as most of you are students, think about audience analysis. Who is my audience? How I'm going to persuade them? Presenting or let's say delivering persuasive speech in front of your friends and in front of your lecturers are not the same. You have to decide who is your audience, to whom I'm talking to, how I am going to convince, particularly my teachers, my lecturers, my researchers, my supervisors. Oh, this project is really important, it's significant for me. How? Convince your supervisor, convince your committee members. committee members, like if you have a research grant or scholarship, okay, you have been maybe called for an interview, okay, to in order to be accepted. So you have to gain the persuasive skills in order to be accepted in this committee. Okay, for example, this committee has accepted you due to this one, because you have convinced them. Definitely they will, okay, it makes sense for me, so it's accepted. But if you don't have these three paradigms, three modes, you cannot be successful anymore. All right? Particularly for first year students. So if you want, for example, to have a persuasive speech about a given topic, so how will you persuade them? Let's say I study business. I have a business project. I want to convince my boss to accept my project to be sponsored. How? You have to convince. How to convince? To convince them about the consequences, how we will gain from my project. Okay, I will sponsor you, not sponsor you for nothing, for no veil, but I will sponsor you to get something, to get a product that's gonna be, how you say, sold in a short period of time. So this is what you call a business. In terms, I'm talking about with the business students. This is just an example. This is what you call audience analysis, or let's say customers analysis. Let's say if my audience are customers. Okay, so customers, you need to convince them to buy your products. You have to have persuasive techniques, okay, in order to sell your products. Okay, otherwise your product will no longer be sold. Right? So this article audience analysis is an important factor when giving persuasive speech. Here, when we say analysis, audience analysis, it depends, or it refers, it can be changed from a context to another context. Like I have mentioned, business, so audience, I cannot say audience, I always say customers analysis. If you are talking about, let's say, projects to be accepted at university, I would say committee members. These are my audience. Okay, so if you are talking to maybe delivering something in the classroom, so your audience will be teacher maybe, or lecturer and students, right? Exactly. Good. So moving ahead to the next one. So here are the key points to consider. Persuasive speeches may utilize the three modes, as I mentioned, of persuasion: ethos, pathos, and logos. Here we have other factors, such as body language, the willingness of the audience, and the environment in which the speech is given or presented. All affect the success of persuasive speech. So here, a reminder for the particular students: whenever you want to have successful persuasive speech, you need to take into consideration these factors: body language, willingness of your audience, and the environment of your speech is given. If one of them is missing, so your persuasive speech will no longer be successful. So look for the environment. Ask yourself, is the environment I'm going to deliver my persuasive speech, is it convenient or not? Does or is my audience willingness is convenient or not? I'm not sure. Okay, so you have to look: do I use body language effectively? So if not, work on that in order to have successful persuasive speech. Okay, good. Audience analysis is important in persuasive speech, as the audience will be convinced for their own reasons. Because whenever you talk to anyone, he will use his mind. I will say, yeah, that makes sense for me. Oh, that's true. Why we say that's true? That's wrong. This one, I don't think so. Why? Because he's not yet convinced. This is a method. Or you say, yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, exactly. You're right. You see, I'm convinced. If I say, but I think, which means this person, as a member, as an audience, is not yet convinced. What you need to do is to convince him, persuade him. So persuade him, which means that you need to have a strong argument, which means that you have maybe weak arguments, or You don't work on pathos or logos or ethos. So you know better because you're the speaker. Okay? There's no one who is better than you. Yeah, you know yourself. You know yourself. There is no one is better than you. Particularly if you know the project you are going to talk about or the content of the persuasive speech you are willing to deliver. So here we have key terms. Persuasion, the process aimed at changing a person's or group's attitude or behavior. Okay. We have logos. Okay. We have logos, logic appeal to the audience. Does the speaker's argument make sense? Right? And we have pathos, which is related to emotional appeal to the audience. And we have audience analysis. This is very, very important. Audience analysis. As a speaker, you have to analyze your audience. Okay, you see them, but you have to read. To read what is their reaction, okay, towards what you're talking about.
Right.
Okay, and we have ethos, which is credibility of the speaker assigned to them by the audience, right? So we have here examples. I have given examples of actual examples of persuasive speech. Okay, so when you say persuasive, it can be persuasive speech or debates. As we can see here, persuasive speech, President Gerald Ford and Jimmy Carter, to meet at the Street Theater in Philadelphia. You see at the image, the way they are dealing with each other, okay, in front of the audience. And we have other pictures of former President Obama, President of the United States, the way they're trying to convince the audience, convince each candidate, you see, convince each other based on the projects they are speaking about, okay? Good, so we have different examples of pictures. So we will move and we will talk about it later on in the second session of the oral presentation delivery, okay?
Yes.
So, yeah.
So we have been talking for the past 30 minutes. Would you like to continue or to stop to take some questions from the audience?
I think let me finish this a little part.
All right.
Then
Okay,
we will
sure.
move to the audience. All right.
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
So we move to the next step, which is persuasive versus informative speaking. Okay. Persuasive versus informative speaking or speech, because you have in your subject ELC, you have informative speech and you have persuasive speech. Yeah, in LCL subject or LCL. Okay, so informative speeches, or informational speeches. Okay, so we have different terms. We have terms which are almost the same. Informative, sometimes it is called informative or informational speeches. Informative speeches seek to provide facts, statistics, general evidence. So this is what you call a definition of informative speaking, which comes from information, to inform, to give data, to deliver information. Okay, this is what you call informative speeches. Okay, or informational speech. It means speech that has we have a speech that has an information. Okay, seek to provide facts, statistics, general evidence. They are primarily concerned with the transmission of knowledge to the audience. Okay, this is in general informative speech. However, persuasive speeches are designed to convince the audience that a certain viewpoint is correct. In doing so, the speaker may utilize information. However, here, another comparison between persuasive and informative speeches are exemplified by academic lectures and sales pages, respectively. For example, the informative speech, you can have the best example, take lecturers, your teachers. They are, in a way, informing you. This is what you call informative speeches. They give you information, statistics, general evidence. So you cannot say, yes, no. We don't have here controversial. We don't have here two different two different ideas, two different points of views. We don't have this event. So we have informative speech, means to give information, statistics, new information or general information, whatever information you have or you are willing to deliver to your friend or to speak to. Okay. However, persuasive speech are designed to convince. So you're not obliged to convince in informative speaking. Okay, so your teacher or your lecturer is not obliged to convince you. So there is no how you say persuasion. We don't have persuasion factor here in informative speech. However, persuasive speech, so you need to convince. Okay. Like sales speech, as I have told before, I give the example of customer. You want to, how you say, sell the product to the customer. So this is what you call persuasive speech or sales speeches, respectively. So we have terms: informative, provide the information specifically useful, meaningful, interesting information. So this is what you call informative speech. Informative speech is quite easier than persuasive speech. Persuasive, you will have to have extra effort. You will work on the audience, you will work on your speech and your ideas and the technique, persuasive techniques. You need to convince your audience. Otherwise, nobody will believe on you. Nobody will believe on your ideas. Okay. However, informative speaking, it's obvious and everybody will how you say accept, because you don't need them you don't need them to be convinced, because it's just kind of information, statistics, data you're delivering to your audience. However, persuasive, again, speech or talk or presentation, you need to convince. You need to work on your audience. Are they convinced? Are not? Partly of them, all of them, majority of them. So you need to work on them to have the impact of your ideas that are accepted by your audience. Otherwise, your persuasive speech will not be accepted and will not be, how you say, successful in a way. Okay? So we go to a Q&A session if you have any questions now. So
yes, okay. That's very interesting. And I do get lots of comments here from the students and the audience saying that this is a very interesting session. I'm sure they can't wait for the next the second part of this session. Yeah, and yeah, so I have this event is superb, loving this event. So yeah, hopefully the by the end of today's session, the students will be able to understand better regarding persuasive speech. So some key takeaways on the first session is on the three things that you mentioned that would be ethos, logos, and pathos. Yeah. And it's very important for the presenter to first give his or her credibility, and then to be logical with the argument. And the next one is to mostly play around with the audience emotion, because in persuasive, what you would like to do with the audience is to make them believe the points that you are trying to make. Am I right there, Dr. Abdelmajid?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Right. So are there any questions from the audience? Please feel free to type your question in the comment box, yeah, and I will deliver this to the speaker. Okay, I have a question here. I think it's a question. Yeah, it's a question from Kairin Amza. He asks, since we have to also inform while pitching a persuasive speech, how do we distinguish a fine line of convincing and informing? Would you like to take that question first?
Yeah, okay, never mind. So here, so the term of convincing, okay, so here, since we have to also to inform while pitching persuasive speech, how do we distinguish? Again, I have already mentioned this one, particularly for convincing and informing. So when it comes to informing, to giving information, your role is to give information. Like, for example, I'm talking to you. For example, let's say you don't have the information. I will inform you about the information. I will give you the news, let's say. Okay, I will tell you, for example, something that had happened, for example, just an example, for example, heavy rainfall happens or is happening in Malaysia. Just an example. This is what? This is an information. It's not a convincing style. This is just I have already informed you. I will say, did you? Yeah, I have informed her. For example, let's say I am invited to invited to my friend's wedding, and my friend has told me to invite my brother. He will ask me, did you inform him? He will not tell me, did you have you convinced him? No, you see? So here's the difference. However, convincing, it comes from, let's say, if we have particularly two different opinions, two different things, this is one context, or something that comes from me only. Let's say a project, an idea I want to create. Let's say, as I have already mentioned, that I have been called for interview, let's say to be sponsored. Let's say my work will be sponsored or will have a grant. So in this case, so I need to convince the panel. This is what you call convincing style. I need here what? Not to give information to deliver my talk or my presentation or to deliver or to present my project through informing style. No, through convincing style. So here you have to have a convincing style or convincing skills in order to get your project accepted. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I hope that answers. Yeah, Kairin Amza.
I'm sorry.
We have a comment from Madam Doreen. She said that all persuasive speeches are informational in nature, but not all informative speech may be persuasive. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So she said here persuasive speeches are informational in nature, but not information speech. Maybe, yeah, definitely, of course, yeah. Because here we can say what she wants to say that persuasive speech, information speech. If I say what is the composition, the components of persuasive speech, one of them is information, but not only information. We can say opposite speeches are informational in nature, but this sentence is missing. I cannot say she has to write, she has to add only. Persuasive speeches are not informational speeches only. Okay? I think she has got my what I wanted to tell her. So persuasive speech are not only informational in nature, but also, okay, so because they are informational in nature, but also it has to have persuasive speeches, persuasive, because it's not only informational, it's persuasive also. If it is informational only, so it doesn't make sense. So here we can say it's informative speech.
Okay.
It is in nature at the beginning. Yeah, it is in nature. Yes, I agree with you, but it has to have a persuasive information, as it were. But not all informative speech may be persuasive. No, we don't need them. Yeah, she's right in the second part, but not informative speech may be persuasive. She's right.
Right. So for the example that you gave just now, whereby a friend went to a friend's house to inform there's a certain event going on. So by telling your friend that the event is taking place at a certain time, a certain place, that's just informing, right? So
Exactly.
by convincing your friend to join the event and to go together, that's persuasion.
Yeah, exactly. For example, particularly if he is against, if he rejects to go, please let's go, share with me, let's go together, accompany me, something like that. So you're trying to convince, come on, I will go, I will use you my card, don't worry, I will pay your ticket, don't worry. So like something like that. We're gonna have a cup of tea, something like that. So this is what you call persuasive style, persuasive techniques. Actually, we use it daily. Without how we say knowing that we have it, we use
Exactly.
it.
I always
Okay.
tell my students that they usually do this with their parents, especially when asking for money.
Without, yeah, exactly, without realizing what they are doing. Yeah, actually, we do it.
Exactly.
Academically, it comes like a hard to do it, but in a daily life, if we take a look at our daily life activities, we do it with our friends and our colleagues and our.
Yeah, it is a skill that we have, but we don't realize it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's another question from Amir Hazik. He asked, how can I practice the tone for persuasive speech?
The tone for persuasive speech. Okay, just please remember me for the second part. I will say talk about the tone in oral presentation, But okay, let me, I'm afraid that I will forget his point. So for the tone, it depends on the topic you're talking to. It depends on the audience. So tone is determined, tone, your tone as a speaker in a persuasive speech context, it depends on your audience, your environment to whom you are talking to, okay, and the project. Hey,
Right.
if my project is about politics, no same like business, no same like I don't know, like in a court. Okay, so it depends. So the tone is determined by different factors. It depends on your factor based on the audience, based on the project, based on the content you want to deliver.
Okay. Right. So just now, you did also mention on the audience analysis and how analyzing your audience is one
Yeah,
of the important factors. Yeah, when you are
yeah.
preparing for your persuasive speech, I suppose once you know who your audience will be, it will also you can use that as a guide to choose the right topic for your presentation, right?
Yeah, for sure, because you cannot, how you say, present without knowing these three factors:
Yes.
environment, audience, and the content.
Right.
Can
So
you
that is
imagine
one
you
of
are,
the, yes,
these
sorry.
are the three these are the three elements. Can you imagine you are delivering something without knowing it even?
Mm,
Can you imagine you are delivering something without knowing it? How will you
right.
convince? One. Second, if the environment is not suitable, how will you go into a successful persuasive speech? If the audience is not relevant to your speech, they will not understand you, so
Yes.
that they will not uh, be convinced,
Yes.
right?
Correct.
So these are the three elements that we had to take into consideration.
Yes. Yeah. So that is the first thing. I think one of the first things that students should do is to analyze their audience, and because a lot of my students, they do have problems in choosing a topic, and most times, sometimes they come with a topic which I feel is too technical. It's they will automatically lose their audience in the first few seconds because it's not relevant.
Yeah.
So yeah, reminding all the audience here today that one of the most important things for you to do before you decide on the topic of your the topic that you want to use for your persuasive speech would be to understand who are the people who will be listening to your presentation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So, are there any questions here? I think they are warming up. The students are warming up. Perhaps we'll get more questions in the second session. After the second session, Dr. Abdelmajid, would you
No,
like
sure.
to continue with the next
Yeah.
one? Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Moving
right.
ahead to the
Okay.
next part.
Right.
Okay, good. So we appreciate students' comments, students' queries and questions. Please be dynamic in asking questions so that we can, how we say, get the opportunity to learn from each other, right?
Right.
Okay.
But sorry, so this question just came in by the name of Oli-san. I think we take this one first. Is that okay
Yeah,
with you?
sure. Okay,
Okay.
never mind. Yeah.
The question is how to influence or
So,
reinforce people's beliefs, attitudes, values, or actions towards our topics. Can you show me an example for this?
an example, she wants us to give to produce
Example,
to introduce an example,
yeah, on
and
how to influence people's beliefs, attitudes, values, and actions. I guess the question is, what do you do in order to make people believe of the attitudes and values and actions that you have chosen for your topic? Could
the
that
best
be it?
example, that I can give right now, you see why people, if in terms, if you talk about beliefs, let's say attitudes, let's say talk about beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
people's beliefs. So people's, they are changing, let's say, their, how you say, beliefs from time to time, yes or no? We can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so beliefs are changeable based on what? Maybe they have been influenced by somebody, some people,
Right.
an environment.
Mm-hmm.
Another factor, for example, I can see that people are, for example, converted into Islam. Why? This is another factor. In case
Right.
it's religious belief, like I can say. But this is maybe it's a simple example that I can give it to you. Okay, for example, but I can give you a simple one. For example, talking to your friend, he doesn't want you to go with, but he
Mm-hmm.
changes his mind. He changes his attitude. Okay, for example, let's say at home. For example, parents with his kids, parents with their kids, parents with their kids talking to each other. Let's say, let's say we know that parents, they prefer always to advise their kids to do this, don't do this, but not only ordering them, particularly when they are matured. They talk based on experience and logic. And again, pathos, which is emotion, because they are their parents. So they will be, how we say, accepted, that they will change again. They will therefore change their attitudes. Okay, I will not do it again, mom or dad. Okay,
Mm.
so
Right.
I cannot have many examples, but we have
Mm-hmm.
daily actual examples from our daily lives. We can see that they change their attitudes, particularly in politics. When election time comes, so we see that we have many candidates. Each candidate tries to convince it. Okay, each candidate tries to convince his or her people. Okay, I will vote on X. Then, no, I will change. I will go to Z. Why? Because I was convinced by Z party.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what you call, I have changed my attitudes based on my, let's say, my point of view, my beliefs of that party. See, I have changed my ideas, I have changed my attitudes or my beliefs based on uh, a plan of
Mm-hmm.
A or Y or Z.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay. I think there's another one. I think this is a good
yeah,
question from Muhammad Rushnikmat. He says
yeah.
he's not sure whether this question is relevant, but I think it is.
Okay.
I believe to persuade is to have someone stand to move towards what we are currently leaning to. Thus, is persuasive speech totally meant for someone that has that stand itself? If you are to assume a person without any knowledge is to see and hear on this persuasive speech, they will only hear on one side that we are currently leaning to, and it will be more of informative speech instead to that particular one. So basically, I think what he meant here is to take people to believe, to move towards what you believe in. That
Exactly. This is it.
persuasive.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. This is what you call persuasive. Means again, we have two contexts. Whether we have uh, two different ideas. For example, you
Mm-hmm.
have an
Mm-hmm.
idea, I have another idea, which are not the same. I try to convince you to be with me. Okay, to go with to go with me. So to be in my side, which means to leave your idea and to come with me to have one idea. This is
Right.
one, because we have two different ideas. Or it comes from you, like students, they have projects. Usually projects come from students. So students will search for a project that is suitable for him, that is one of his interests, let's say, area he wants to investigate in. So he will choose, and then he will study that project in depth, comprehensively. Then he will be delivering his project in front of a panel members. So in this case, he has to convince them about my project really needs to be sponsored, really needed to be how we say. To be sponsored, I said, to be financed in order to. So how? So the case is, I have convinced the audience. Oh,
Right.
sorry, the panel members. This is the
Okay.
case.
Right. Okay. Okay, I think we can move to the next part two of this session. Yeah, and for
Yeah.
the audience, please stay with us because the attendance link will be given to you towards the end of this session. Yeah, so you do not want to miss that. And
Yeah.
keep on listening. And perhaps if you have more questions that you would like to ask Dr. Abdelmajid, please share it with us. type it in the comment box. I will take it and deliver it to him. Okay, Dr. Abdelmajid, I
Yeah.
think we can continue to the next session.
Okay, moving to the next session. So next session will be about oral presentation, delivering oral presentation. So I know students, particularly in your first year up to fourth year, or master, postgraduate, or persuading your postgraduate studies, you need always to present your project. If you are talking about industry or politics, you need to present a project, present a division you are under your shoulder. So you need to be, if you are responsible of any section, you need to present whatever you have done. If you are, let's say, if you talk about a business, commerce, okay, so they need, for example, if you're accountant, you need to give us, you need to present the financial budget of the year. So always presentation is there, okay? So talking about oral presentation, let's talk about in general, what is oral presentation? So oral presentation is a part of the speech, okay? So when you say oral presentation is a part of speech, that's what we're talking about, okay? So oral presentation is generally speech or vocal performance, occasionally accompanied by visually based presentations. So we'll explain details what's mean visually based presentations, such as slide show. No presentation is also where you show your knowledge on a particular subject. You might be able to choose your topic, or maybe you have been given something to search and talk about to the audience. This is an oral presentation definition in general, okay? So it is a part of speech, okay? You will deliver speech about a given topic. You will use visually based presentation, okay? So visual aids, okay? Or body language such as slideshow. And oral presentation is also, it shows or it delivers, or as a presenter, you deliver information, knowledge to on a particular subject to a particular people, which is audience. Moving. Nice. Objectives of the oral presentation. Okay, objectives or oral presentation. So we have here 4 elements. Select appropriate points of emphasis in your presentation. So your presentation must be specific. You cannot talk about, let's say, farming, then industry, then politics, then medicine, then, okay? So it has to be selected, okay? Appropriate points of emphasis in your presentation. Develop useful level of detail, okay? Developing a useful level of detail. Next, choose and prepare appropriate visual aids. So don't come without, let's say, computer, then I want to present. Don't come with, I've forgotten this one, I've forgotten this one. So everything must be prepared, particularly your visual aids. Create a tone. As I mentioned, one of the audience here raised the issue of tone. Here it comes. Create a tone that is sensitive to your audience's circumstances. So, for example, I'm talking to the audience, supposedly, but if the tone is wrong, so there is real problem. So your presentation will no longer be successful because of the tone. The tone is not suitable, particularly if it's convincing. If it's, let's say, informative or presentation, it's fine. But particularly if it's convincing, because hey, you work on convincing audience. How will you convince them while the tone is absent, while the tone is not suitable, while the tone is not related to the topic? Okay, so choose and prepare, create a tone that is sensitive to your audience's circumstances. So again, I cannot determine a specific tone to use, but the content of the speech or presentation will determine which tone you will use. Okay, so we don't have an exact and specific tone to use to be standard. No, so tone must be relevant, must be based on your presentation or speech content. So here, determine the purpose, analyze the audience, adapt the message, gather information. Which purpose? What do you want from the oral presentation? I want to deliver oral presentation, but determine be specified. What is your purpose? What is your objective? Second, analyze the audience again and again. Don't present if you don't know your audience. Who are they? Don't present, don't speak to the audience whom you don't know. What do I mean by you don't know? Not knowing them like your friend, no, but knowing in which category they belong to. Who are they? They are businessmen, they are policemen, they are, let's say, students, they are educators, they are who they are. Okay, specify whom they are. Okay, who are your audience? Adapt the message. So the message must be relevant. Okay, adapt the message. Okay, the message must be adaptive. Gather information here. If you know all these factors, if you know all these elements, so here gather information comes, because you cannot gather information if you don't know your audience. As an example, let's say your audience is, let's say your audience is primary school kids, okay, or pupils, but you are targeting, let's say, PhD students. So there will be huge lag, you see? So a huge gap. Why? Because you have planned, which means you have gathered information without knowing your audience, which means your message is not adaptive. Is it clear? Good. So next we have, necessities of oral presentation. Preparation and planning. Preparation again and planning. Preparation and planning. Please don't come without preparing your presentation. You may make rehearsals. It's fine. It's fine to call your friends, 2, 3, 4, and then make rehearsals in front of them. If you are again afraid, anxious, nervous, okay, plan or prepare with yourself. It's no shame to face the mirror and prepare your presentation. It's fine. Use your phone and video record your presentation. By the way, my video record presentations and rehearsals was a part of my PhD thesis. So no, never mind, just record and do it. Rehearsals, like we say, practice makes perfect. So just prepare, practice, okay? Preparation and planning. If you don't plan, if you don't prepare, you will no longer have a successful presentation. Second, structure of speech and language. Please structure your speech. Don't speak here, then move to the other point, then move in here and move in there. So everything will be jammed. So you don't have a sequence. So the audience will be how can I say? They will not be focused. They will be scattered. They will be sometimes absent. Sometimes they use their mobiles because they're no longer interested in your presentation. As we see that sometimes a presenter is presenting to you, delivering presentation, and we see many people are having their phones and chatting, calling, texting. Why? Because this speech is not attractive. You need to attract your audience, structure your speech. If your speech is not structured, so there is a gap between you and your audience. And language is also. Language here, we mean language, we talk about verbal and non-verbal communication skills. Verbal and non-verbal communication skills. I will talk about it later on, okay, in a slide. So in depth, structural speech and language. Okay, I will talk about it, okay? So here we mean by language in the persuasive speech and oral presentation with verbal and non-verbal communication skills. Good. Next, visuals. Like you see here in pictures, so we have visuals. So the visuals must be clear. Okay, it's the image is not clear, it's not suitable. The image appears upside down. So everything must be prepared. Create interest in audience. Make your audience interested in what you are delivering to them. Make them interested, make them attractive. How? It's you who decides how to make them. So again, your environment, audience, and the content of your presentation or speech. How far is it interested to me? Think, before thinking as a presenter, think as an audience. Think as an attendee. How is it interested for me? Before being a presenter, be a listener. Before being a speaker, be a listener. Listen to yourself to see how far is it interested. Okay, then you will see how far it is interested, and you measure your audience interests. Good. Skills required for no presentation. So here, some of the skills required for delivering our presentation come across natural and relaxed. Don't be nervous. Don't be obnoxious. Don't be what do you call anxious. Okay, so be relaxed, be at ease, be calm. Okay, because the audience see you. Your audience see you. I mean, they look at you, because if you are nervous, they will see. Oh, he's nervous. He's not normal. So if you're nervous, everything will be nervous as well. Everything will be upside and down, and then you will forget your ideas. Your plan will be lost. Your preparation will be lost. Everything will be lost. Your mind will be lost. You don't know what you are talking about. You don't know what you are saying. You are out of control of your presentation content, right? Be understandable. Second, be understandable. If you are presenting in English or French or any other language, it must be understandable. So don't, how you say, talk in a way that is not clear. If you have a problem, fix your problem. If you have a bad language, please fix your language. Reform your language. Reform everything. Never mind. So this one comes from rehearsals. Do rehearsals. Do practices in order to be understood. Okay. Say something useful. In presentation, don't forget that you have a limited time. Okay, so you are under control of time. So say something useful. So when we say planning and preparing, what does it mean? So to be concise and precise, to say only what is useful to you and to your audience. Don't waste your time and your audience time as well. So that's why we say something useful. Be, how to say, in short. Be concise and precise, as I mentioned. Be memorable. Be memorable, which means have a positive effect on your audience. Oh, I still remember that presentation. I still remember maybe 2 days, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I still remember that presentation. Why? It's really memorable because you have attracted, you have already gained your audience. You need to gain them. How? Be memorable in delivering your speech or presentation. Good. Next, we have the importance of nonverbal. Again, here we're going to talk about nonverbal and verbal and nonverbal communication skills. So, mentioning the significance of nonverbal communication skills. So, what are they? Nonverbal communication skills. Nonverbal communication skills are posture, appearance, listening, eye contact, hand gestures, and facial expressions. This is what you call body movements or body gestures. Okay, so we have posture, the way you appear to your audience. Okay, sometimes I'm standing up, looking here, my eyes are up, I don't see my audience. My audience they are here, and I see there. So there is, how you say, miscommunication, I can say, a lack of communication between you and your audience. So this is called posture, appearance. You have to appear in a better position. Okay, listening. You have to listen to them. They listen to you. Eye contact. You have to have an eye to eye. Okay, you have an eye contact with your audience. Don't see up and they are down. Don't see down, they are up. You have to give them respected eye contact so that they will be how to say they will be interested in what you are talking about. They will be also focused on your presentation context. Hand gestures, you have to use your hands, as I have already mentioned in different pictures, like previous former president of the United States, Obama, all the presidents, so how they use their nonverbal communication skills so that they deliver their message effectively and efficiently. Good. 5 main functions of nonverbal communication skills. So we have to express emotions, okay? To express emotions, communicate in personal relationships, support verbal reaction, interaction. So here, one of the aim of the nonverbal communication skills is to support the verbal. Okay, for example, I talk without using my hands, I talk without using gestures, facial expressions, eye contact, I speak like this. So there will be no active movement between you and your audience. Support verbal interaction reflects responsibility. Here it means that you are responsible of your speech, which means there is a kind of confident. You are confident. You are confident on what you are talking about. So it means they believe on you too, because this is what you call again. Remember the term of credibility. Okay, so they want to see you, how you look like while you are delivering your presentation. Perform rituals such as greetings, goodbyes. Okay, don't come and my topics today is blah 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 without introducing yourself, without greeting your audience, without giving respect to them. Okay, so this is what you call an opening and end. Greeting them, good morning, hello, how are you doing today? And at the end, when you finish, thank you so much for listening to me, and thank you so much for your interest, thank you so much for your time, goodbye, see you next time, something like that. So this helps to enrich your communication skills and also help you to have a closer relationship between you and your audience. And another point, which is found in the recent research, which is they mentioned that 80% of messages delivered by nonverbal communication skills. 80%. Imagine 20 only is delivered by verbal, by language. Some of the students they may say, okay, I talk. This is I know how to talk. Okay, that's enough. But no, 80% of messages, of successful messages delivered by nonverbal communication skills. To see how far, to see to what extent nonverbal communication skills is significant. You see? Good. Next, we have nonverbal communication skills. These are some facial expressions, gestures also, happy, sad, as we use sometimes in texting. The same thing, we use them while delivering a content, a speech or presentation. When it comes to be happy, I have to show, to demonstrate my happiness. However, if it comes to be angry, you have to see my angriness. So to see I'm sad, or thinking, or embarrassed, sleepy, confusing, okay, and so on and so forth. You have to see, okay, because the audience will interact and react. Okay, they have to be with you, moving with you. So you are like a remote controller. You have to control your audience. Imagine you are controlling. You have a remote controller moving from a channel to another channel. So you are presenter. So you have the remote control of your audience. The same thing for gestures. So we have different gestures. We use them relevant to the context where I should use them effectively and efficiently. Nice. Now, moving ahead to importance of non-verbal communication now. The second part of, we mentioned the non-verbal communication skills, now verbal communication skills. Verbal communication skills includes rates, volume, okay, pitch, as well as articulation, pronunciation. This is what we call verbal communication. Also includes sign language. Yeah, we may include this part too, and written forms of communication. These are all verbal communication skills. The main aim of the functions of verbal communication skills to impact knowledge clarification. You see? Can you compare? Here we have only 2 functions. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 functions. Can you see here? We have 5 functions. However, here we have only 2 functions to impart knowledge and clarification. That's all. You see, only 2. That's why the study comes to show us 80% non-verbal, only 20 is verbal, which is related to language, in part knowledge and clarification. Okay, nice. Here we have different parts of verbal and non-verbal communication skills. So here, here we have in the first up picture, here we have talking and using or presenting, delivering presentation or talk or speech while using while using non-verbal communication skills, delivery skills, you can say too. Okay, and the second part, talking like I don't know, talking without moving, like robot. You know that robots you generally don't use gestures because they are not human beings, they are just monitored. Okay, so you see the second picture, without using delivery skills or non-verbal communication skills. Here it depicts something, which is that the conversation is raw. So the conversation is not vivid, it's not dynamic. There is no, how you say, the give and take. Okay, there's no, how you say, action. There's no, how you say, movement. I can say so, active movement between the listener and speaker. But I speak hi, hi. When I say hi, it gives an impression which is not the same. When I say hi, which means it doesn't really depict really high, but I'm greeting you. Hello, welcome. How we say, hey, hi, welcome. Or we say, hi, welcome. Which means it's not, how we say, it's not really, it doesn't really depict the real meaning of the word, like a greeting. Okay? Good. Now we move to how to improve. Maybe this question may be raised. That's why I have to mention here in this slide how to improve verbal and non-verbal communication skills. Improving or enhancing verbal and non-verbal communication skills. So we have different ways. So here I have given some of the ways. We may follow effective listening. We need to listen. Listen a lot. I need to present. I have a presentation, but don't come, okay, tomorrow I have a presentation, today I need to listen. No, you have to start earlier, okay? Have a plan of enhancing yourself in presentation, okay, in delivering presentation. Effective listening. You have to have an effective listening. You have to have a body language, which is non-verbal communication skills. Intonations. Prepare yourself. If you have a bad tone, please enhance or train yourself in using an excellent tone. No problem. It's not shame. It's not bad to have a bad tone, but it's bad if you keep that bad tone going with you, right? So you have to improve your tone. Doesn't matter. If I have bad tone, okay, tomorrow I will have a better tone, then I will have an excellent tone. That is really wonderful. Okay? Example, record yourself with both video camera and an audio recorder to see how you communicate non-verbally. Okay? Particularly if you self-record yourself, right? You can see yourself, you can, how you say, switch off the voice, see how far you communicate, see how far you deliver your non-verbal communication skills, how far it is successful while you are delivering your speech or presentation. Just so you may switch off your voice, switch off the sound and see. Then turn off the sound, and here, what you are doing here, you are assessing, you are evaluating yourself. In case you are shy, in case you are introvert person. If you are extrovert, never mind. You shouldn't be ashamed. You will be, if you are, in case you are extrovert, you will be, this is one of the strengths. You will be, because you are open to everybody, so you are not ashamed, so that's why you are not be anxious, so you will have that impromptu way, a style to deliver. So you don't, how you say, bother. You are with 100, with 1,000, with millions. That doesn't matter for you. 1 and million are safe for you. It doesn't matter how many people, how many students I'm going to deliver. It doesn't matter for you, as far as you, because you are really confident, and you don't have shyness. You don't feel anxious. You believe in yourself. You have definitely worked on your language skill, your delivery skills. You have experience, of course, in doing such activity. That's why it's like a cup of tea for you. Otherwise, it will be somehow difficult. Okay, we know that at the beginning it's difficult for everybody when it comes to deliver a speech about anything. So I know at the beginning it's difficult, particularly if you don't have any experience. But with experience, everything will be easier. And so you need to experience. You will never be at the same point that you have already started. So if you start getting yourself looking and taking care into yourself, enhancing your skills, presentation, speeches in general, informative and persuasive speeches, and all presentation, definitely you will have better accomplishments. Okay, so always this is as a kind of a piece of advice for students, particularly for freshman students. You have more years to come, so you will have more activities to deliver and you will have a bright future. Please work on presentation, nonverbal communication skills, in order to have all these skills to convince, to have whatever you have as ideas, as data, as information, as projects, as whatever you have in your mind. So just use it as a tool, as a key, in order to open the door, or let's say, door of the future for you, inshallah, for all of your students and colleagues. Here, another step, which is how to sell yourself with your presentation. How to sell yourself with your presentation. Making a good first impression. Here you have to have a good impression at the beginning. Well, when it comes to introducing yourself, introducing your topic, you have to have a good impression so that you will attract all the audience. Okay? Speak professionally. Don't speak as if that you are outside. This is what you call formal speaking. Okay? Formal speaking, which means academic. It has to be serious. Academic professionally, speak professionally. Polish up your public speaking skills in advance. Okay? You have to work in case you know that your weaknesses and your strengths. Work on your weaknesses. Okay? Second, at all stages of your career, you need to sell yourself, your ideas, your values, and your ability. Because if you work on these stages, definitely you will have a better future, a better career. Okay. As a conclusion, without further ado, with the conclusion part, so clarify the purpose of your presentation, clarify, define your audience. Again, research your topic. So, for example, you have given, let's say, you have chosen or you have been assigned to a topic. Let's say a topic about, I don't know, a business, let's say, something about business, entrepreneurship, something like that. Okay? So don't, how you say, come with zero knowledge about your topic. This is my advice for students, because in a second year, third year, fourth year, you have FYP, final year project. You will be how you say, you will deliver your presentation, your project, and then how will you answer your committee questions? Okay, your panel members' questions. How will you answer them? So this is what you call, you have to have a comprehensive, you have to do a comprehensive research about your topic, which means you know your topic from different angles. Whatever question that may come, okay, you are ready because you have done an extensive research about your topic. Okay, next, organize your information. After gathering information, please organize your topic, organize your information, your data you have collected, and prepare your message. Prepare your message and your content of speech. Prepare the outline of your message. So that must be an outline for your topic while you are going to deliver your presentation. The last part is rehearsal your presentation or your speech. Do rehearsals. Do rehearsals, because rehearsals and practices makes you better, particularly when it comes to the actual presentation. And I hope all the students can do better and accomplish great jobs in this particular field. Thank you so much. And if we have any Q sessions, Nurbaya?
Yes, right. So that's very interesting. I like the last part where you said do not come with zero knowledge of your topic. This is especially important because I feel that when students, they know the topic, in and out, they know in depth of the topic. They'll be somehow or other, they'll be passionate in their presentation.
Yeah.
As a lecturer, we will be able to see whether the presenter has done a lot of research on the particular topic, or it's a last minute work. Yeah. And there is no limit to practice and prepare and keep practicing. As long as you have time to practice, you have to practice. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that will be because I noticed that every time you practice, you'll find something that you can improve on. Yeah, something that you can
Sure.
and a point that you can make better. So sometimes students come to me and ask, how many times do I need to practice? I said, there's no limit, until the
Yeah.
day you need to present,
Yeah.
you
Sure.
have to keep on practicing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right.
Definitely. Yeah.
Right. So are there any questions? A lot of people here are very interested in the topic. Good explanation from Dr. Abdelmajid. Interesting topic, yes. Right. So for the audience, I need to remind you that I think the attendance form is ready. So you would like to to fill that up for your attendance. Right. So Dr. Abdelmajid,
Yeah.
perhaps when we talk about, you did mention just now that to make your presentation memorable. Yeah. And I think what students need to know is sometimes a very simple topic can be memorable. I
Sure.
remember once, I think this happened many years ago by a student of mine, but he delivered on informative speech. The topic was it's a simple topic on Lego, the toy Lego. But somehow, I guess because he himself is a Lego collector and he knows the topic in and out. Therefore, when he presented it to the audience, it was done full-heartedly and was something that we remember till today. Although the topic is simple, you wouldn't imagine a Lego to be your topic, and it becomes something memorable. So that is one thing that students need to remember. It's not about choosing a sophisticated, complicated topic to make it memorable. It can be
Yeah.
something that, simple, and most importantly, that your audience will be able to relate to. Yes?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. Right. So I hope the person who asked regarding tone I hope your question has been answered. Right. So we have, would you like to add anything else before we end the session, Dr. Abdelmajid?
So I don't have any further questions from the audience.
Not just that, because sometimes they come in at the very last minute. Yeah. But okay, perhaps I think I do have I think, where was the question? Oh yeah. Right. So a lot of my students, understandably, when they need to present,
Yeah.
feeling nervous is very normal, right? That
Yeah,
is
it's
very,
normal.
very normal.
Because anxiousness or nervous is anxiety is a part of the human being. It's part of your feeling. So
Correct.
definitely we feel nervous.
Right.
Nervous is okay. It's natural. It's natural feeling. It's natural feeling. So we
Yep.
cannot say, I cannot be nervous lah. I can. So it's a problem for me. No, it's okay to be nervous. But the issue is to control your nervousness.
Yes, that's right.
It's
How
fine
do you control?
a just we can say low level of nervousness. It's fine,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to
Mm-hmm.
control it. Maybe it comes at the first impression, but it goes. Sorry, it goes out.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
it so at the beginning, yeah, never mind. But you have to concentrate on your topic. As
Right.
far as I told you earlier, as I mentioned earlier, you have to over control your
Mm-hmm.
paradigms or your modes or your aspects: environment, the topic, the audience, okay, and the content. You have to know the content, okay.
Yes. Yes.
You, what are you talking about? You know what you are talking about. It means that as
Mm-hmm.
if that you are expert. Okay, you know what you are talking about. One. Second, you know your audience. Third, language, verbal and non-verbal. You have to control. You are, how you say, professional in managing your verbal and non-verbal communication skills. So
Right.
these elements and environments also. So these elements actually help you to control your nervousness. Usually, nervousness comes from lack of practice, lack of practice, or poor in English or any other language that's
Yeah.
being delivered, okay, or a lack of knowledge. You don't have knowledge, or you don't, how you say, you are not able, or you have a problem in that topic. Let's say the content, I don't understand the topic. How will you deliver your topic? This is
Correct.
the
Yes.
issue. Even you yourself, you don't know the topic. So, as you said, complicated topic, simple topic. It's not a matter of complicating or making it sound simple as far as you understand what you are talking about. You understand the issue. You understand the content. If you understand, if you understand, if it's clear for you, don't worry. Go ahead.
Yes. Yes. And you find that you can't wait to share the information with the
Yeah,
others, right?
definitely. Because you have the remote control of the topic, so it doesn't matter for you.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a question from Fatin Adiba. She asked, as we are delivering our speech, should we interact more with the audience or interact with our visual aids?
Are we delivering our speech? Should we interact more with the audience or
Or
interact with
interact?
visual? Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. You need to use visual aids are just instruments to help you, but you have to interact with audience. Visual aids are not audience. Visual aids are just instruments like your laptop, like your slides. It helps you only.
Yes.
The main thing is your audience. What to do with your visual aids?
True. So the eye
Okay,
contact should be to the audience, not the
to
visual
the
aids.
audience, definitely. Your audience
Right.
is not visual aids, of course.
Okay, right. I think that's one thing. I just remember this. Perhaps you can enlighten us on the difference between reading presentation and oral presentation, because lots of times when things like this happen, when they have fantastic visual aids prepared for their presentation, at the end of the day, they tend to read from what from the slides that they have prepared. So reading and oral presentation.
Yeah. So here, usually students, they just read. Okay, finish. Because they're afraid. I know they are afraid. They don't want to see, to look back. Okay, they give back to the audience. They don't see them. So they need to see the audience. So because of the many factors, students know that. They're afraid. They want to overcome their fearlessness. So what do? They read directly, immediately. But if you see somebody who is capable of the topic and able to or master the all presentation skills, so we see that he has the key of presentation. So he doesn't even care about his presentations as much as he cares about the audience. So reading, what is the benefits of the slides is to help you. Okay, it helps you only like notes. Okay, you may read note, never mind. Elaborate, explain more.
Right.
Okay, this
Right.
is it. Yeah, this is it only.
Yes, it
Yeah,
helps. Perhaps sometimes the what you have on your slides would be images. It helps your
yeah.
audience to be
It
able
helps.
to.
Yeah, it actually helps us. Yeah, it helps the audience also.
Yes. There's
Yeah.
another question from Madam Zaama. How important is the Monroe's motivated sequence in delivering a persuasive speech? What if we miss one of the 5 steps, for example, visualization?
So here a question here. How about the Monroe's motivated sequence in delivering persuasive speech?
Yes.
What if miss one of the 5? So visualization, it's fine, but as far as you keep yourself stable. Okay, so keeping
Right.
yourself consistent with your because of speech and presentation are almost the same, though presentation is a part of the speech, but you have to be
Right.
stable. Okay,
Right.
making yourself consistent. This is the issue. Never mind, because I know human beings, sometimes you forget something, you may forget an element. Never mind. That's it. That's fine. But the issue is making yourself consistent. Don't be, how you say, up and down. Be
Yes.
stabilized. Then it's fine.
Yes. Yes. So I think that brings to the fact that before we present, you emphasize on the fact that we have to prepare, we have to plan, yeah, and then
Sure.
we must make sure that the structure of our speech is done correctly and it's in order. So organization is very important.
Sure.
Right,
Exactly.
that's why
Yeah.
in presentation we have the 3 parts. We start with introduction and then we go to content and conclusion. So when we need to put in this Monroe's motivated sequence, we know that there are 5 steps, so you need to organize it accordingly. So
Sure.
hopefully you do not miss a single step.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right,
But as a human being, you have to be, as I said, consistent.
right.
Sometimes
Okay.
it may happen, but you have to over control all these issues.
Yes, you must be able to pick it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And I also like the fact that you mentioned just now your visual aids have to be clear, especially when we are doing things online. Sometimes the font is too small, or the color, the font color and the background, it doesn't really work. So on our end as the audience, it's we will be struggling trying to see what the presenter is trying to share with us. Now, what
Yeah.
you have with us today, your slides, your background being white and the font is black. This is, I think, one of the best combinations that anyone could have, because the words, they stand out. So it's easier for us, the audience, to be able to follow your presentation because we are able
Yeah.
to see your slides. So
Exactly.
these
Yeah.
are,
Sure.
it may seem small, but it will affect the whole entire presentation,
Exactly. Yeah.
right?
That's
Okay,
true.
we're taking another question from Isdiha Amri. Sorry, he's asking about attendance. Okay, Hazik, what is the important thing or mistake that we need to avoid during delivering persuasive speech and oral presentation?
So, avoiding mistakes. So, what kind of mistakes? We have different mistakes here. So, we need to avoid during delivering persuasive speech. So, I don't know. So, we have language mistakes, we have delivery mistakes, we have, I don't know which mistake exactly. So, if you're talking about language mistakes, so again, so try. That's why we try. That's why we propose. We suggest for students to have rehearsals.
Yeah,
Because what's the purpose of having video recorded rehearsals is to see and to listen and to watch yourself. And then
right.
again, have a paper and a pencil. Or start right. Note down. Okay, what are the points that you have missed?
Yes.
Oh, I have missed, for example, to use my hands. My hands, I put them in the pocket in my pockets. So okay, this is one element. Second element, for example, my eyes were
Everywhere.
almost here and there, so I have to fix. Okay, so you have to write down them again. Make another rehearsal. Then again, check these mistakes. So I hope that I have answered his question, because he said mistakes and we have different kinds of mistakes.
Yeah, and I feel that it is also crucial and for students to know how the presentation will be graded. So understanding what needs to be in a presentation, for example, the items that they need to have, and then
Sure.
perhaps their delivery has to be this way and that way. They have to be careful with their pronunciation and things like that. I
Exactly.
think
Yeah.
understanding how it's graded and assessed, that would also help you to avoid making mistakes during your presentation. Yeah?
Certainly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So is there another question? Perhaps we can take one more, our last question. Yeah, Madam Zaama commented, sometimes the visual aids are larger than the speaker. Yes,
Sometimes
I do get that.
maybe
Yes.
this
And
is a matter of organization. Maybe
correct. Yeah,
matter of
those are
organization.
aesthetics, but these things do, like I said, it affects your presentation. And sometimes you place your visual aids right in front of your face, and it covers the
Yeah.
presenter.
we can say technical issues. It doesn't matter as far as don't make it how say into consideration that much. Okay, it happens sometimes due to internet, maybe due to some technical issues. Never mind. Just go ahead. Never mind. Don't let even the audience take it into consideration as a serious matter that affects your presentation. No. Okay, never mind.
Yes, yes.
Don't give it that much
Don't
focus.
give too much thought on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think this is our last question for tonight from Muhammad Zafri. He asked, "What happened if we do random hand gestures?"
As if that you are dancing. So you see yourself, you are dancing. You are in a wedding. You are not presenting yourself. Sometimes, yeah, we see actually, yeah, it's right. He's right. Sometimes we see students, they are dancing without even feeling because they are under control of nervousness. You
Yes,
see,
yes,
huh?
that is their
So
way of.
ag- again, for Muhammad Zafri, so I suggest for you to control your random hand gestures, to be limited, to be specific, to be relevant to your idea. Okay, so it gives really powerful messages, meaningful messages, effective messages to the audience to be sent as you want them to be sent, right?
Yes.
So here you have to work on your hands, your hand gestures. Just simply video record using your phone. Use your phone, record, video record yourself, video record your presentation, your speech. Try. Oh, in this part I have used much. This part I haven't used. So here you have to be consistent and appropriately you have used your hand gestures as you want
Right.
them to be.
Yeah. And the fear with hand gestures, when you do it a lot, the focus will be on the movement of your hands rather than your own presentation,
You
right?
see, this is the issue. Yeah, it will be affected. It will be affected. Your presentation will be so the audience will be focused on your hands with your hands rather than your presentation itself because you
Right.
have given much attention to your hands because as if
Yes.
that you want to tell them my hands are more important than my presentation itself. No, doesn't
Yes.
doesn't
So
doesn't
that'll
work
be
like
a
that.
waste to all the preparation that you have made.
Yeah, doesn't work like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think yeah, that's the last question for tonight. Dr. Abdelmajid, on behalf of everyone here, this has truly been a very fruitful session. I'm sure everyone is going back today with lots of new
Yeah,
ideas, knowledge, and they'll be I hope excited to prepare for their next assessment, which is the
sure,
persuasive speech.
sure. Hope
Thank
so.
you for your time. Thank you for your willingness to do this for the students of UITM. We appreciate it lots. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I hope that this will not be the first and last. I hope there'll be more sessions with you in the future,
Yes,
inshallah.
inshallah.
Yeah,
Inshallah.
yeah, I think everyone is very happy with we can read the comments here. It's a lovely session, and thank you
Great.
so much. Thank you
Great.
so much for
We
doing
appreciate
this
that.
for us. Yes,
Thank
thank
you
you so
so
much.
much for having me. I hope that we have got benefited from this session and we'll
Inshallah,
collaborate inshallah and
inshallah.
keep in
Right.
touch inshallah and I wish all the best for all the students and their classmates as well.
Thank you so much. So
Thank
we
you
will
so much.
close this session with the Umul Kitab and Surah
Yeah,
Al-Asr.
sure.
All right. So everyone, thank you for coming. So we'll see you again in our next session. All right. Bye.
Thank you.
Assalamualaikum.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Salam
you, Dr. Abdul
rahmatullah.
Majid.
Thank you. Most welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.